It seems that both parties so far are happy about the progress they make in the negotiation, but still there are lots of skepticism about the technical aspect of the agreement. So both Iran and P5+1 are concerned about how quick the other party can deliver its promises. Especially Iran is looking for immediate sanction relief, which is technically and legally is very difficult to do. On the other hand, Iran does not want military facilities and some other facilities like heavy reactor in Iraq and Fordo facility in Iran, in Qom, to be inspected or to shut down. But these are things that P5+1 are insisting about this. So there are still some disagreements over issues, but it seems to us from outside that the progress they made is beyond the expectation that people had a year ago. I don't think that even a final comprehensive agreement between Iran and P5+1 would end nuclear dispute or nuclear crisis, or would end the West concern about Iran's nuclear activities. Because for Iran, pursuing nuclear program or reaching to the capability, to the nuclear capability is an existential need for protecting the survival of Islamic Republic, first. And second, Iran does not believe that by making any concession on nuclear program, West would end all sanctions and would end all pressures that have been placed on Iran since 1979. So for Iran, nuclear capability is first a guarantee for the survival of Islamic Republic, and second, it's a good leverage to always negotiate with the West and stop further pressure on Iran, and a tool to impose on the West the recognition of Islamic Republic and its regional role in the Middle East. Ayatollah Khamenei believes that it's a symptom of the West problem with Islamic Republic. For Ayatollah Khamenei, the West never recognized Islamic Republic as a legitimate regime in Iran. And since its inception, they never missed any opportunity to change the regime in Iran. And they tried different means, military means, economic means, and even cultural means. Ayatollah Khamenei is obsessed with the idea of cultural invasion. And since he came to power in 1989, he's talking about the massive cultural war that the West, especially United States, waged against Iran. And he always, every year, calls for a new cultural revolution in Iran. So for Ayatollah Khamenei, if regime was not changed in Iran, it's not because West didn't want it, it's because West tried but failed. And he thinks that even if we give up our nuclear program, West would find another excuse to put pressure on Iran. And he mentions explicitly example of Libya under Gaddafi, who gave up nuclear program, and then his regime was easily changed by internal opposition and their alliance with external enemies. So always Ayatollah Khamenei think that giving up on nuclear program would expose the regime to many dangers, including existential risk. Unfortunately, the Iranian government did not stop violating human rights since President Rouhani came to power. In some cases, the situation even got worse. The number of execution has been increased recently, and suppression of the civil society did not stop. And also the pressure on journalists, on human rights activists, on women activists, on student activists, on labor activists, all these civil activists did not stop. So it seems to me that Ayatollah Khamenei, who is in charge of judiciary, intelligence, and military, think that by distracting the attention of the West and forcing them to focus on nuclear issue, it's much easier for him to actually violate human rights without any pressure. So what we see is that since June 2013, West is trying not to talk that much about democracy and human rights in Iran in order to make nuclear negotiation more successful, which is a matter of concern for all Democrat and human rights activists in Iran.